Hi everyone, keep watching for a review on Mary Cadogan's Just William Through the Ages and to see some of my new Richmal Crompton books that were just delivered today. Hi everyone, thanks for joining me for this review on Mary Cadogan's Just William Through the Ages. This book was written in 1994 and it begins with an introduction by Richmal Ashby, Richmal Crompton's niece. It then moves on where Mary Cadogan looks at William through the decades between the 1920s and the 1960s. We see that in the first decade that William's quite innocent, is not the ingrained leader of the outlaws yet that we would come to know, but then by the 30s William is the leader, and that's the topic for the 1930s. In the 40s we have William at war. My first book was a compilation book called William at War, so I think that's where some of the best stories come from, but that's just my opinion. Then in the 1950s we have William the Expansive. In the 1960s we have William the Campaigner. Mary Cadogan then finishes the book by looking at William as he marches towards the millennium, as well as the fantastic writing of Mary herself. We have excellent illustrations throughout, and the author also uses quotes from the book to reinforce the points that she's making. It's a fantastic book to read, really. At not even 100 pages, so much information is contained within this book that really anyone interested in William must read it. It's that good. Very well designed, and yeah, just a really good book to read. And I think personally for me it helped me put some of the stories in context. Richmal Crompton was a fantastic writer of all genres, from children's literature to ghost stories and novels for adults, but over the course of the William books, some of the changes she introduces are just so minute, or she changes them at such a slow pace, or sometimes sort of you have to read between the lines, and perhaps I hadn't noticed all the changes. So a book like Mary Cadogan's is fantastic because it looks at it through the decades, over such a vast amount of time, really, and then we can see that the changes have happened. All the William stories happen within context, so we get to see that, and in time we get to see as William's family do become a bit more lenient towards him, and in fact that there are some stories where William and his dad actually have a good time. So yeah, that's really good to read, and it's helped bring more life to the stories that I'm reading now of just William. So yeah, definitely a book to buy. It's available from eBay mostly, but sometimes it's available on AbeBooks or Amazon, so it's worth checking them all out to see where the best condition copies are available, and obviously the best prices. Which brings me on to my recent order. So the William books that I have are these behind me. These are the Macmillan versions, and in William the Detective 2 stories were purposefully left out. One, very understandably and rightly so, was William and the Nasties, which sadly displays some anti-Semitism, but also William in the League of Perfect Love I don't think should have been left off. There was a lot of pressure at the time, but I guess it just shows how important people still think William is. So Macmillan left those stories out, which means I had to get a newness version, which is very nice. It's my only hardback William that I have. Quite nice. The marketing never stopped. How many do we have? So I have all the book stories now, and as you can see I have all of the plays written by Richmal Crompton for BBC Radio. But as you know, I'm trying to discover a bit more of Richmal Crompton, so I've been reading some adult literature written by her, and also I thought I'd give Jimmy a go. So I've got the two paperbacks here, Jimmy and Jimmy Again. There is a Jimmy the Third, but as I came to realise, they're actually just a compilation of both of these books. And again, these are not first editions, these are reprints from the 1960s, but still very nice, I think. There we are. And these are illustrated by different people. So where we had Thomas Henry and then Henry Ford for the William books, for these prints at least, we have covers here by Mary Gurnat and text illustrations by Lunch Roberts. And as you can see, they're very different to the illustrations that we came to expect from William. But all of the artwork through these books are fantastic. Let me find spy one from. It's from William again there, Jimmy again there. So it'll be really interesting to see what the differences are between Jimmy and William. I know I've read in places that Richmal really thought that in the end they became the same person, but it'll be interesting to read and find out. So I'll update you when I've read those. If you stuck with me this far, thank you for watching. See you next time.